Hello everyone. Welcome to the channel where exciting stories come to life. Today you'll discover how Alejandro, a visionary entrepreneur from Mexico City, and Maria, a former pianist with an incredible story of overcoming challenges, find the strength to start anew together. Get ready for a journey of struggles, music, and love that promises to inspire you and keep you hooked until the very end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell for updates, and comment below to tell us where you're watching from. Let's dive into this emotional story together. Logan sat in his leather armchair, gazing at the stunning view of the Golden Gate Bridge through the expansive windows of his mansion. The sun was setting on the horizon, painting the sky in shades of red and orange, but for him, the beauty of the moment was overshadowed by the boredom that surrounded him. He had achieved everything a man could desire: wealth, power, and success in the tech industry. However, this life of excess and achievements no longer felt meaningful. He sighed, looking at the reflections of light on the waters of the bay, sensing a void that seemed to expand with each passing day. It was then that a soft melody began to float through the air, breaking the oppressive silence that enveloped him. The sound of the piano resonated in the music room, creating a magical atmosphere that drew him in like a magnet. Curious, Logan rose from the chair and walked toward the door, his footsteps echoing on the cold marble floor. He couldn't identify the song, but there was something in the way the notes intertwined that made him feel an emotion long forgotten. As he entered the room, Logan was paralyzed. A woman was sitting at the piano, her fingers dancing across the keys with a grace and passion that left him speechless. Amelia, as he soon discovered, was so immersed in the music that she didn't notice his presence. Her light brown hair fell in waves over her shoulders, and her eyes were closed in concentration. The melody she was playing was a blend of nostalgia and hope, and Logan couldn't help but feel captivated. "You play in a way that brings the music to life," Logan said, finally breaking the silence. Amelia stopped abruptly, surprised, and her gaze met his. A moment of silence hung between them, and he could feel the instant connection that was forming. "Thank you," she replied, a blush tinting her cheeks. "I didn't expect anyone to be here." "It's hard not to hear you," Logan remarked, gesturing to the piano. "You have an incredible talent." Amelia smiled shyly, but Logan could see a glimmer of pride in her eyes. "It's just a form of expression. I used to play in Austin, but..." Things changed. Logan felt a wave of curiosity and concern. "What happened, if you don't mind sharing?" She hesitated for a moment, looking at the piano keys. "I had a difficult relationship. Music was one of the first things I left behind." Her voice sounded distant, as if the memories haunted her. "I never thought I'd play like this again." Logan felt a tightening in his heart as he listened to her words. "You should play more. Music is a part of who you are, and it seems you have so much to offer." Amelia looked at him, her eyes shining with a mix of hope and pain. "It's hard. Sometimes I feel like I'm not worthy of it." "That I'm not worthy of anything?" "That's not true," Logan replied, his voice firm. "Everyone deserves a second chance. You have a rare talent, and the world needs to hear you again." She smiled faintly, but Logan sensed there was much more behind that expression. He felt compelled to help, to do something that could reignite the flame of passion he saw within her. In that moment, he knew that his life was about to change in ways he had never imagined. The soft melody that had begun as a simple sound was now becoming the prelude to a new journey, an unexpected connection that could lead to something much greater than either of them could foresee. Logan watched Amelia intently, the notes of the piano still echoing softly in the room as she finished the last phrase of the melody. The beauty of her performance had captivated him, but it was the depth of emotion he saw on her face that truly touched him. He stepped closer, applauding gently, and when she looked up, her eyes sparkled with a mix of surprise and shyness. "You play beautifully," Logan said, getting even closer. "I've never heard anything so lovely." Amelia smiled, a bit embarrassed. "Thank you. I haven't played in a long time. I'm not the same pianist I once was." "The music still lives in you," he replied, trying to encourage her. "What happened?" She hesitated, her expression shifting to a shadow of pain. She sat down on the piano bench, her delicate hands resting on the keys as if seeking comfort. "I was a professional pianist in Austin, but..." She paused, swallowing hard. "My career was ruined by an abusive relationship." He couldn't stand my success and started to discourage me. Over time, I started to believe I wasn't good enough. Logan felt his heart tighten upon hearing Amelia's story. He sat beside her, trying to find the right words. That's terrible. No one should have to go through that. You deserve to be happy and to pursue your dreams. Amelia looked at him, her eyes filled with sadness. I just want to regain custody of my son. He's everything I have, but I'm scared. What if I fail again? You're not alone, Amelia. I can help. The determination in Logan's voice was palpable. He didn't know exactly how, but something within him compelled him to offer assistance. We can work together to find a solution. I don't want to be a burden, she said, her voice hesitant. I don't want you to feel like you need to save me. It's not about saving you, but about supporting someone who deserves a second chance, Logan replied, looking into her eyes. You have an incredible talent, and your son needs a strong and confident mother. Let's find a way to make this happen. Amelia bit her lip, struggling against the emotions that threatened to overflow. It was hard to accept help, especially after everything she had been through. I would love for you to be right, but what if all of this is in vain? Then we will have tried, Logan said, with a gentle smile. I'm not going to give up on you. I'll make sure you have a chance to fight for custody of your son. She looked at him, hope mingling with doubt. What do you suggest? Logan paused, thinking quickly. Let me meet with someone. I have a friend in New York who is a lawyer. She can help us better understand the legal situation and what steps we can take. Amelia frowned. And what if that doesn't work? What if you get too involved? Then I'll be here to support you no matter what happens. He leaned in a bit closer, his voice low and sincere. I don't want you to feel alone in this process. You deserve to fight for your son. Amelia felt her heart warm with his words. It was a new feeling, a connection that made her want to believe that maybe she could actually have a chance. Okay, she said finally, giving a slight nod. If you think this can work, I'm willing to try. Logan smiled, relieved. Perfect. Let's do this. And remember, no matter what happens, you have my support. She smiled, feeling a wave of gratitude but also a tinge of fear. It was a step into the unknown, but for the first time in a long time, there was a light at the end of the tunnel. Logan sat at his wide, dark wood desk, cluttered with documents and neatly organized folders, but his mind was far from work. He was thinking about Amelia, the talented pianist who had crossed his path unexpectedly. The connection he felt when he heard her play still resonated in his mind, and he was determined to help her reclaim her life and her career. For that, he knew he needed the support of someone experienced. That's how he decided to meet with Rachel, a friend of Amelia's and a renowned lawyer in New York. The cafe was filled with people engaged in lively conversations, but Logan was absorbed in his thoughts as he waited for Rachel to arrive. He looked out the window, observing the vibrant city outside, but the image of Amelia playing the piano kept coming back to him. When Rachel finally walked in, he greeted her with a nod and a smile. Logan, it's always good to see you, Rachel said, pulling out a chair and sitting down across from him. What brings you here? Logan hesitated for a moment, but the words flowed as he began to talk about Amelia. I met an incredible woman, Rachel. Her name is Amelia, and she has an extraordinary talent for the piano. But her life has been tumultuous due to an abusive relationship, and now she's fighting to regain custody of her son. Rachel listened intently, her eyes lighting up with interest. That's serious. What do you plan to do? I want to help. She has so much potential, but she's so lost. I thought you could help me understand how we can approach this custody case, he replied, determination in his voice. Of course, I can help, Rachel said, leaning forward. We need to understand Amelia's current legal situation. Do you have access to her documents? Logan nodded, pulling out a folder containing the information he had managed to gather. Here are some records and notes I was able to compile. What do you suggest we do first? Rachel examined the papers, her eyes moving quickly over the lines. First, we need to document everything. If she has a history of abuse, that could be an important factor in court. Have you talked to her about this? Not yet. She seems very hesitant and doesn't want to reopen old wounds, Logan replied, concerned. But I feel like she needs someone by her side and someone to support her. It's essential that she feels safe to share her story. The court will take into account her mental health and how that could affect custody of her son. You can be that support, Logan. It's important that she knows she's not alone, Rachel explained, her voice calm and encouraging. Logan took a deep breath, realizing how delicate the situation was. I worry about her. The courage she had to face her past is admirable, and it only fuels my desire to help her. Rachel smiled, recognizing the sincerity in Logan's words. That's beautiful, Logan. But remember, you also need to take care of yourself. We can't save others if we're not well. I understand, but I can't ignore what Amelia is going through. She's an incredible woman, and I want to make a difference in her life, Logan said, his voice firmly resolute. Rachel looked at him, recognizing the intensity of his feelings. It sounds like you've fallen for her, she remarked with a playful smile. Logan blushed a little but didn't look away from Rachel's gaze. Maybe I have, but that complicates things even more. I don't want her to think I'm just trying to help because of some romantic expectation. It's a complicated path, no doubt. But if you're sincere and transparent with Amelia about your intentions, that could strengthen your connection even more. And, more importantly, she needs to know that you respect her as a person and as a mother, Rachel concluded, her expression encouraging. The conversation flowed as they discussed the best way to proceed, and Logan felt a renewed sense of hope. He knew that with Rachel's help, he could give Amelia the chance she needed to rise again and perhaps one day regain custody of her son. As they spoke, Logan realized that the admiration he felt for Amelia was transforming into something deeper, something he could no longer ignore. Logan was in his mansion, surrounded by luxury he could no longer fully appreciate. The view of the Golden Gate Bridge, which once enchanted him, now seemed like just another backdrop in his monotonous life. He lost himself in thoughts, reminiscing about the connection he had felt with Amelia, the pianist who had brought a new melody to his world. But at that moment, his mother, Margaret, was about to arrive, and he knew the visit would not be easy. When Margaret entered, the atmosphere in the house shifted. She was a woman of strong opinions and did not hesitate to express them. As soon as she saw Logan, her eyes sparkled with concern. "Logan, I don't know how you could get involved with a woman like that. You barely know her," she said, her tone reproachful. "She's incredible, Mom. You don't understand. Amelia has been through terrible things and I want to help her," Logan replied, trying to contain the frustration that was rising in his chest. Margaret crossed her arms, appearing even more rigid. "And you think it's smart to get involved with someone who has such a complicated past? You can't save everyone, Logan. This will only bring you trouble." "She's not a project, Mom. She's a person, and I care about her," Logan asserted, feeling the tension escalate. He was tired of the criticism and distrust surrounding his choices. "You're putting yourself in a vulnerable position, and I don't want to see you hurt." "Amelia may be a good pianist, but that doesn't make her a good partner for you," Margaret insisted, her voice rising. "You need to focus on people who share your life, who have a promising future." Logan felt his heart race. "And who do you think has a promising future, Mom? Only people with fat bank accounts and spotless careers. Amelia is more than that. She has talent, she has dreams, and I want to help her realize them." "If you can't see that, then maybe you don't know the son you think you do." Margaret took a deep breath, her eyes narrowing in disappointment. "If you continue with this idea, I can't support you. Is that what you want? To break our relationship over a woman you barely know?" "I'm not asking for your support, Mom. I'm just asking you to respect my choices. Amelia needs me, and I need her. It's that simple," Logan said, his voice firm but tinged with sadness. On the other side of the room, Amelia heard the argument. She stood in the doorway, her heart heavy. The conversation affected her deeply, and guilt began to invade her mind. She didn't want to be a burden to Logan. She didn't want to cause more problems in his life. With a hesitant gesture, she decided to step back, convincing herself it would be best for both of them. "Logan, I don't want to be the reason for your fight with your mother," Amelia said, her voice trembling. "Maybe I should just leave. I don't want to cause any more problems between you two." Logan turned quickly, his expression of surprise shifting to concern. "Amelia, no, that's not how this works. You're not a burden. I want you to stay. We're in this together." She looked into his eyes, searching for truth in his words, but insecurity held her back from believing him. "You're just being kind," I don't want you to feel obligated to help me. Your mother is right. I'm complicated, and I don't want this to interfere with your life. Amelia, you're not alone. I'm here. I will fight for you, no matter what happens, Logan declared, feeling a wave of determination. But at the same time, the fear of losing Amelia and his mother's disapproval weighed heavily on him. Margaret, observing the scene, felt her heart tighten. It was hard for her to see her son so involved in something she considered risky. Yet, at the same time, the passion Logan had for Amelia was palpable. He was willing to face any challenge for her, and that left her perplexed. Logan, think carefully before making a hasty decision. I just want what's best for you, Margaret said, her tone softer but still filled with concern. I know, Mom, but what I want is to be happy. And at this moment, Amelia is part of that. Please, try to understand, Logan pleaded, his voice now calmer but firm. He knew he had to fight for Amelia, but the battle between love and family was just beginning. Logan sat on the porch of his mansion, looking at the Golden Gate Bridge illuminated by the sunset. The sun's glow reflected off the bay's waters, but his mind was far away, lost in thoughts of Amelia. He couldn't forget the expression on her face as she played the piano, how her hands danced over the keys, transporting her to a world where pain didn't exist. But now, with the heated argument between him and his mother still echoing in his mind, Logan knew he needed to take action. After a long sigh, he decided it was time to seek Amelia out. When he arrived at her house, he found her sitting on the couch, head down, eyes lost in thought. The atmosphere was heavy, and Logan felt that his presence could be yet another burden, but he couldn't leave her like this. Amelia, he began gently, we need to talk. She lifted her eyes, a mix of sadness and resistance in them. About what, Logan? I don't want to be a weight for you. That's not what I want. What happened with my mom? She doesn't understand. But I do, and I want to help, he said, moving closer and sitting down beside her. You are not a burden. You are a fighter, and you need to know that. Amelia shook her head, as if trying to push away the feelings that were overwhelming her. I don't know, Logan. You have no idea what I've been through. I feel lost and hopeless. You have an incredible talent, Amelia. Music is a part of who you are, and if I can help, why not give it a try, he suggested, feeling determination swell within him. And how do you plan to do that? She asked, distrustful. Giving me money won't solve my problems. I don't want to give you money. I want to give you an opportunity, he replied, looking into her eyes. I can fund a music program for underprivileged kids in Los Angeles. You could lead the program. Just imagine. You getting back to playing, teaching, sharing your passion for music. Amelia's eyes sparkled for a moment, but then dimmed again. What if I fail? What if I can't do it? That will just hurt me more. You're not alone, Amelia. I'll be by your side. Together we can make this work. You could be the inspiration those kids need, and I want to see you rise again, Logan insisted, gently capturing her hand in a gesture of support. She fell silent for a moment, weighing his words. The desire to play again was strong, but the fear of failure still haunted her. Do you really believe I can do it? She asked, her voice tinged with a thread of hope. I not only believe it, I know you can. You have a gift, and music is a powerful medium. It's not just about playing. It's about touching lives, he replied, his voice filled with sincerity. Amelia took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her insecurities, but something inside her began to stir, like a seed, finally receiving light. If I do this, will it really be for me? And not for you? Of course it's for you. I just want you to find your voice again. You deserve it, Logan asserted, with conviction. She looked at him, the internal struggle reflected in her gaze. All right, I'll try. But if I feel lost again, I'll be here. Always, Logan promised, a smile forming on his lips. And so, in the soft light of the evening, Amelia began to envision a path. She still carried scars from the past, but the idea of teaching music, of playing again, and making a difference in the lives of underprivileged children brought a new breath of life. Something she hadn't felt in a long time. And alongside Logan, she felt that maybe, just maybe, she could start to rebuild her story. Amelia sat in front of a small class of children in a community school in Los Angeles, surrounded by colorful posters and makeshift musical instruments. The afternoon sun streamed through the windows, softly illuminating the space. The room was filled with laughter and excited murmurs, while the children's eyes sparkled with anticipation. She took a deep breath, recalling Logan's words. You can make a difference in their lives just as they can in yours. Hi everyone. Today we're going to learn a new song, said Amelia, her smile lighting up her face. The children leaned forward eagerly, their messy hair and curious eyes focused on her. What song? Asked a brown-haired boy, raising his hand. We're going to play Imagine by John Lennon. It's a song about peace and hope, Amelia replied, picking up a keyboard beside her. She began to play the soft chords, and soon the children joined in, trying to mimic the sounds with their little percussion instruments. The first chords echoed through the room, and Amelia lost herself in the melody, feeling a wave of emotion. Each note that came from the keyboard seemed to reignite a part of her soul that had been dormant for far too long. The children, even in their innocence, sensed the magic of the moment, and soon they began to sing, their voices uniting in a simple but vibrant harmony. Look, you all sound great. Let's try again, but this time with more feeling. Amelia encouraged them. She saw the spark in their eyes and felt that she was doing something meaningful. It was as if every laugh and every note played was healing her own wounds. After class, as the children dispersed, Amelia sat on a bench, exhausted, but happy. The sound of laughter still echoed in her mind. That's when Logan walked into the room, his expression lighting up upon seeing her. He was dressed casually, but there was something about him that always radiated confidence. You were amazing today, Logan said, approaching her. The kids were so engaged. You brought a new energy to them. Thank you, Amelia replied, a bit shy. It was liberating. Sometimes I feel like I'm finding myself again. Logan sat next to her, watching as she gazed at the children leaving. I knew you had this talent. You should be proud of yourself. It's hard, she sighed. I still struggle with the fears from my past. Sometimes, I wonder if I'm really ready for this. What if I fail again? You're not alone. I'm here, and I'll support you every step of the way, Logan replied, gently placing his hand over hers. You're stronger than you realize, Amelia. What you're doing here is an important step. Amelia looked at him, feeling a mix of gratitude and vulnerability. What if I can't? What if the memories come back and paralyze me? Then you'll face it, just like you've been doing, and I'll be right there with you, Logan said firmly. In that moment, Amelia began to realize that there was a strength she hadn't fully explored yet. The music, the connection with the children, and Logan's support felt like a new beginning, a light at the end of a seemingly endless tunnel. As they talked, he stood up and walked over to the piano. With a gentle gesture, he began to play a few notes, creating a sweet and captivating melody. Amelia smiled, feeling the music envelop the room. Can we play together one day? She asked, already imagining how it would be. Absolutely. I can't wait to see you shine even more, Logan replied with an encouraging smile. As the music filled the air, Amelia felt she was truly regaining her confidence. Each chord resonated as a reminder that she didn't have to face her fears alone, and as Logan watched her, the admiration in his eyes made her believe that maybe, just maybe, she could find her way back. Amelia was in her studio, surrounded by sheet music and the distant echoes of children's laughter coming from the room next door. She tried to concentrate on the music, but her heart was still heavy with the weight of the past. Her ex-partner, Alex, had shown up unexpectedly at the music school, and his gaze had stirred a whirlwind of emotions she thought she had left behind. Amelia, you can't just forget who I am, he had said, his expression a mix of disdain and possessiveness. You think you can leave me behind and live this fairy tale life with the magnate? Don't forget where you came from. In that moment, the confidence Amelia had regained seemed to fade. She was about to respond when Logan entered the room, his expression serious yet determined. Alex's gaze shifted to Logan, and a tense silence filled the air. You have nothing to do with this, Logan, Alex shot back, trying to intimidate him. She's mine. She always was. Logan, however, did not hesitate. He positioned himself beside Amelia, an act of protection that made her feel stronger. She doesn't belong to you, Alex. You have no control over her life anymore. She's fighting to rebuild herself, and I'm here to support her. And you think you can manage that? A broken woman like her? You might have all the money in the world, but that doesn't buy the integrity you need to deal with what she's been through, Alex taunted, laughing sarcastically. Amelia looked at Logan, her eyes filled with gratitude. She wanted him to know that his presence empowered her, but she was also terrified of losing again what she had fought to regain. Logan, I don't want you to get hurt because of me, she said, her voice barely a whisper. Don't worry about me. I'm here for you, Amelia. I won't let him intimidate you. Logan replied, his determination evident. He faced Alex firmly. You can't keep haunting her. She's a mother, and she's fighting for custody of her child. If you truly cared about her, you wouldn't act this way. Alex stepped forward, his face flushed with anger. You have no idea who you're messing with. I am a part of her past, and the past always comes back to haunt. Then come and try, Logan challenged, his voice deep and resolute. But know that this time we're not alone. Amelia has friends and allies, and I am one of them. She's stronger than you'll ever be. The tension in the air was palpable, but Amelia felt a wave of courage flood her heart. Logan's presence encouraged her to confront her greatest fears. She took a deep breath and turned to Alex, her eyes shining with determination. I'm not the woman you once knew. I'm rebuilding my life, and you no longer have power over me. Amelia's words rang out like a hymn of liberation, and a momentary silence followed. Alex, realizing she had changed, felt threatened. He looked from Logan to Amelia, as if assessing the situation. This isn't over, Amelia. I'll be back, he said, his voice laced with defiance, before leaving through the door, leaving a trail of tension in his wake. As soon as the door closed, Amelia turned to Logan, her legs shaking. I did it, she said, her voice trembling but filled with relief. Yes, you did. And you're not alone, Logan replied, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder. We'll face this together. You're stronger than you think, and I'll be by your side every step of the way. Amelia smiled, a renewed light in her eyes. Thank you, Logan, for everything, for showing me that I can be strong again. Of course. Now let's focus on what really matters, your fight for custody of your son and the life you want to build, he said, his gaze filled with support and determination. Yes, let's do this. I won't let the past defeat me, Amelia declared, feeling more capable than ever, ready to face the challenges that lay ahead. Amelia was nervous as she prepared for what could be the biggest moment of her life. Carnegie Hall, one of the most iconic stages in the world, was about to host her performance. She looked at herself in the dressing room mirror, adjusting her hair and trying to calm her racing heart. Memories of her past and the insecurities that still haunted her tried to creep into her mind. But she took a deep breath, reminding herself of the children she taught and the joy she felt when playing the piano again. This was her chance to shine. Outside, Logan waited anxiously, his hands sweaty as he held a bouquet of white flowers. He knew how much this performance meant to Amelia, and even though he felt a bit nervous for her, his heart was full of hope. He was sure she would captivate the audience. Amelia, are you ready for this? He asked, smiling to encourage her. I hope so, Amelia replied with a nervous smile. It's just that, what if I mess up? What if people don't like it? You won't mess up. You're amazing, and everyone here will feel your passion for music. Remember, you're not alone, Logan said, squeezing her hand. Amelia nodded, feeling a bit more confident. Thank you, Logan. Your presence gives me strength. When the curtain opened and the lights came on, the audience erupted in warm applause. Amelia took a deep breath and walked onto the stage, with the piano waiting for her. As she sat down, she looked out at the audience, filled with curious and eager faces. Among them, she spotted Logan, who waved at her with an encouraging smile that made her feel like she could face any challenge. The first notes emerged, soft and delicate, like a gentle breeze. Amelia immersed herself in the music, letting her emotions flow through her fingers. Each chord seemed to tell a story, and the audience was completely captivated. Memories of her life, the struggles, and the joys she had encountered along the way wove together in the melody. When she began to play an original composition, a piece she had written during her classes with children, The hall fell into a reverent silence. Logan's eyes were fixed on her, admiring every movement of her hands on the keys. He noticed how she seemed to transform, as if the music were liberating her, pulling her out of the shadows of her past. Amelia closed her eyes, allowing herself to feel every note, every emotion that arose. It was as if the piano were conversing with her, and she was ready to listen. At the end of the piece, a wave of applause erupted in the hall. She opened her eyes, surprised and emotional. The audience was on their feet, applauding enthusiastically, and gratitude filled her heart. Logan stood up, applauding fervently, his heart overflowing with pride. "That's it, Amelia?" "You did it," he shouted, and his words echoed through the hall. Amelia smiled through tears, feeling the energy of the audience enveloping her. She bowed, her body trembling with emotion. The piano had become not just an instrument but an extension of her soul, and in that moment, she knew she had reclaimed a part of herself. After the concert, while the applause still resonated in her mind, Amelia left the stage and went straight to Logan. He wrapped her in a tight embrace, and they stood there, in a moment that felt eternal. "You were wonderful. Everyone was mesmerized," he said, looking into her eyes. "I couldn't have done this without you," Amelia whispered, her affection evident in her voice. "You gave me strength when I needed it most." "What you did today was extraordinary. I'm so proud of you," Logan replied, holding her face in his hands. As joy surrounded them, Amelia knew this was just the beginning of a new journey. The sound of the piano still echoed in her mind, and she felt that, at last, she was ready to face the future. After the concert, the glow of the lights at Carnegie Hall still reverberated in Amelia's memories as she left the stage with her heart racing, flooded by the warm ovation from the audience. Logan was waiting for her backstage, with a smile that reflected the admiration he felt for her. The air was charged with emotion, and the feeling of accomplishment hung between them like a magical aura. "You were incredible, Amelia," Logan exclaimed, holding her hands tenderly. "The way you played, it was like you were speaking to the soul of everyone in the room." Amelia was still breathless, her cheeks flushed from adrenaline and effort. "Thank you, Logan. I never thought I would have this opportunity again. I felt like, in a way, I was reconnecting with myself." Her eyes sparkled, but there was a shadow of insecurity that Logan couldn't ignore. "You don't have to be afraid. You're a born artist, and this performance is just the beginning. I will always be here to support you." He looked into her eyes, trying to convey not just words, but the sincerity of his feelings, which grew stronger every day. Amelia hesitated, a whirlwind of emotions swirling in her mind. "Logan, you don't understand. My past is complicated. Do you think I can really overcome all of this? What if, in the end, I end up hurting you?" Her voice trembled slightly, and Logan could see the fear reflected in her gaze. "Amelia, we all have a past. What matters is who we are now and what we're willing to build together. I can't promise it will be easy, but I promise I will be by your side every step of the way." He pulled her closer, summoning the courage to express his feelings. "I love you, and that won't change." She fell silent for a moment, absorbing his words. The weight of the confession hung between them, as if time had stopped. "I love you too, Logan. But what if everything falls apart? What if our stories don't match? I don't want to be a burden to you." Logan smiled gently, brushing his hand across her face and caressing her softly. "Amelia, you will never be a burden to me. On the contrary, you inspire me to be a better person. Together, we can face any challenge. We can build a new story that is ours without letting the past define us." Amelia's heart raced with a mix of hope and apprehension. She knew the ghosts of her past experiences still haunted her, but Logan's sincerity made her believe it was possible to break free from them. "Sometimes, I feel like the past can be a heavy weight. What if my ex-partner comes back to interfere? What if he tries to destabilize me again? If that happens, we will face it together. You are not alone, Amelia. Never again." Logan spoke with determination, holding her hands tightly. "Your strength and courage are admirable, and I want to be by your side, not just as support but as your partner." Amelia felt a wave of emotion wash over her. The certainty in Logan's words encouraged her to open her heart, even though fear still lingered. "Do you really believe we can get through all of this?" "I believe it because we're already doing it," Every day we spend together is a victory, and what you did today on stage is proof that you're capable of anything. We can't let fear paralyze us. The intensity of Logan's gaze made her feel secure, as if she could finally allow herself to dream again. So, shall we face this together? Amelia asked, a hesitant smile forming on her lips. Yes, together, Logan replied, leaning in to kiss her gently, as if sealing a pact of love and courage. In that moment, Amelia realized that despite the uncertainties that still existed, there was a light on the horizon, and that light was the love growing between them. Amelia felt nervous, but also radiant. The legal battle for custody of her son had finally come to an end, and the judge's decision still echoed in her mind. You are a dedicated mother and have the right to be with your son. The judge's words reverberated like a mantra of hope. When the news arrived, she could hardly believe it. Her heart raced as she left the courtroom, an involuntary smile forming on her lips. Logan was waiting for her outside, his expression filled with anticipation. Amelia, you did it, Logan exclaimed, his eyes shining with pride and joy. He pulled her into a tight embrace, feeling the tremor of relief that coursed through her body. I don't know how to thank you, Logan. You were incredible throughout this process, she said, her eyes welling with tears. The battle had been tough, but his unwavering support helped her maintain her faith. You're the real hero here. I just did what anyone would do for someone they love, he replied, looking deeply into her eyes. Now, let's celebrate this victory. As night fell over the city, Logan organized a special dinner at a cozy restaurant with a view of the Golden Gate. The soft candlelight created a warm atmosphere, and the delicious aroma of food filled the air. Amelia sat at the table, her heart racing with anticipation for what was to come. To the new life we're building, Logan said, raising his glass of wine and looking at her. To your courage and determination, which have inspired everyone around you. To our new life, Amelia repeated, her words heavy with emotion. She looked around, noticing that the table was adorned with fresh flowers, and her son, Ethan, was by her side, beaming with a wide smile. I'm so happy you're here, Ethan. Now we can be together forever. Ethan smiled and nodded. I'm happy too, Mommy, and you're going to teach me how to play piano, right? Of course, my love. You're going to be a great musician, Amelia replied, her happiness overflowing in her voice. As dinner continued, Logan and Amelia exchanged knowing glances. He was determined to show everyone that their love was strong enough to overcome any obstacle. You know, Margaret wasn't too happy about our relationship, Logan commented, a bit hesitantly. She doesn't need to understand, Amelia replied firmly. What matters is that we know who we are to each other. Logan nodded, admiring her strength. You're right. And I won't let anyone keep us from being happy. After dinner, they stood up and went to the balcony to enjoy the view. The city lights sparkled like stars, and the sound of waves crashing against the bridge's pillars was a soft melody that accompanied the moment. Amelia, I want you to know that you are more than just a partner to me. You are an essential part of my life, Logan said, taking her hand in his. I want you and Ethan to always be by my side. She looked at him, her heart warming. And I want you to be a part of our lives, Logan. We're a family now. In that moment, Logan leaned in and kissed her softly. It was a kiss that spoke of promises, love, and a future together. As he pulled away, he smiled, and Amelia felt that finally, the shadows of the past were